Greetings, brave souls. I am your GM in the Great Barrier. We are back today with Star Trek Adventures Aegis. And today we are starting our Season 2 finale, Acheron Part 1. For those of you joining us in the archive, if you have followed up to this point and you want to get involved with the games, just bear in mind we run these live on Saturdays at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That's 6 p.m. Greenwich Mean Time. So makes allowances for a good number of time zones, either stateside or on the other end of the Atlantic, depending whichever neck of the galaxy you're in. But if you join us, then you can accrue and spend quatlus to affect the outcome of our games in different entertaining ways. Either way, we hope you join that. We hope you follow along in different places, and that you enjoy our other live streamed games, which we just so happen to be running through our Star Trek Adventures Broken Sword Games Season 2 finale as well. So, yeah, we hope that you enjoy all of that. I think, guys, there's really not much more for me to say on top of that other than, I have the words, but I couldn't. Someone sang it so much better than I could.
It's been a long,
Right on.
All right. With that, let's get into it. Please
I
start
wanted
us
the
off.
whole song. Where's the whole song?
It doesn't.
We do not have
copyright.
we do not have several $1,000s for that copyright.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Already
Yeah.
I can hear Paramount breathing down our neck.
No, thank you. All right. With that, please start us off with our log.
All right. Time-logged encrypted file. Classified to command level 5. Security code Telemachus. Captain's log, memoir, last will. What do you even call this? I know you're wondering where this file came. Sorry. I know you're wondering where this file came up and why I made it a pain to unlock. I guess both myselves have grown more paranoid over the last few years. So let me explain. The last day this message was edited on November 8th, 2155. I have time locked this until 2 months have passed without my presence on the ship. I've already wrote a log for today. Crew morale is high. The engine has seen better days. Mailneck is having a tantrum. Supplies are low despite myself and Furnier's shrewd efforts, yada yada. This isn't that. If you're reading or hearing this, then the destination we're arriving at turned out to be not so well for me. Or maybe the timeline didn't fix itself in the way I hoped it would. So I guess I'll start with this with the words I have been wanting to say for a long while. I'm sorry. I did everything I could. It's been 2 years and 8 months since I was brought into your timeline. It was, well, Lillian had spent little more than several days from just being pulled out of deep cover, and the Zindi crisis had just happened the last week. It was a lot to get my bearings, a lot to figure out when, where, and who I was. I was lucky that Starfleet Intel debriefing and great support of a supportive wife who all that I have. Nope, I messed up that. All that I simply was having some culture shock to deal with, which only made me discover that I landed too late in the timeline. Isn't that the kick of it all? A time traveler that's too late. I don't even know how late, but given the only subtle differences, I can't imagine it was relatively that far off. All the same, I started this whole race well behind, and I did whatever I could to try to prevent it from spiraling any further. Becoming a captain of a Starfleet ship was part of that. I had thought with that mobility alone, I could do a lot more than I could than simply a ground pounder, and I got it, and I still failed. I can't tell you how frustrating it is to play by the rules when the galaxy shook itself apart around me. There are so many times I felt the urge to just start throwing in advances and developments to hell with the consequences, all in the hopes of being the last person on top. Every time I saw a new tragedy, a new terrible event, whether it was an infraction or something that was meant to happen, the temptation was always there to fix for just a quick fix. It's not that I'm an engineer or scientist. Even in the future, I'm as much as what Lillian is, a soldier. I defend the ideals that peace and understanding brought. It was never meant for me, never for her, but it was what we like to see, to defend home. And that's why I didn't fall for those urges. If I did, it wouldn't be my home anymore. I think the first time you see, you, for the first time you hear Sharp choke up, I think my daughter wouldn't be quite up. I think my daughter would be quite upset if her mom ruined the timeline because she was lazy. I've been marooned here for nearly 3 years. I have no idea if I'll ever get back to my family, if my family ever existed. But I found an amazing family here with this crew. You excelled in ways I can only dream of. I know your roots. I can't imagine what you have been feeling, but you've been such a pinnacle of what the Alpha Quadrant should be. This whole crew has been that example. I doubt any other ship in any nationalized fleet has an assortment of races and cultures that all work together and do so willingly. You've been a voice of reason when I am hot-headed, and passionate when I am callous. The Andorian Imperial Academy were idiots for kicking you out, and I doubt I would have gotten this far without you or anyone else on this ship. I've asked so much from you and this crew, and you've given it, and then some. So I'm returning the favor. I can't give you new technology the like. That's just asking for too much trouble for you despite its initial appeal. But I can do something just as good. Ever since this exploration mission started, I've been working on an extensive document with regional information, cultures, battle strategies, tactics, safe havens, everything I know about what's out there that might be useful for you should you need it. In the grand scheme of things, it isn't much, but it should still help you, at least you and those you care for, from the worst that could be out there. At the very least, it'll help you, give you a bit of a leg up. You'll notice that parts of it are still time locked, and that's more to ensure that my bending the rules doesn't completely upend things. But it's conditionally locked to sensors as well in case things come up in a little too early. I guess that's it then. Hopefully you never see this entry. If you do, thank you for restoring my faith. End log.
Many months into its journey, Aegis is moving along at a slower warp factor than it usually has. The rugged design of its engines have managed to get you very far, very quickly, in part thanks to the advantage of various navigational tricks and routes that you've been able to take. However, it has not come without some cost, and the need to relax has been a little more pertinent. Suffice to say, however, the ship as steady a pace as it is moving along, the crew itself is finding a steadier rhythm. Some of this has been helped, or a little in some ways, by the recent introduction of a few new faces. Suliban, that you had rescued some months back at this point, who have found ways to help around the ship, who have generally livened up the place. It's you know, a strange effect that, for example, children on a starship seems to have. That it is, however, this day where Aegis is presently at warp, where it is nearing a location, a heading that, so far as all the rest of you know, has been ordered by the captain. Star system seemingly unremarkable amongst all of those who have passed by and not ventured to. No signs of any special life forms, any subspace traffic of any sort. Nothing that long-range sensors had told you about. Save in these past few days, as you've noted, signs of some sort of power emanation. What that is, the nature of what that is, you hope to learn here soon. But as we start on this day, there are a few routine matters to get through. The life aboard ship. As I understand it, there is at least one scene requested with our XO. I will ask before that, does anybody else want to have anything done on the ship, or have any particular moments?
Okay, I have a quick question. So we made it through the subspace corridor, and this scene is occurring as we are on the other side, right?
This is
Yeah,
about
months.
2 months afterwards.
2 months afterwards. Okay.
Yeah.
And is there a post on what was happening in that 2 months, or just what you narrated?
More or less.
Just more or less of things are going well. Crew is high. The engine is seen better days, so we're sort of slowly putting along. Also, Brian, you're beeping a lot. You gotta can you mute when you for the moment
Okay.
when you're not talking. Thank you. But the yeah, we're making a steady, as the GM just pointed out, we're just making a steady route to one direction. For you guys have no idea why I chose that system, but we're just making a beeline for that in a very as fast as our engines can handle without burning them out.
Yep.
Which isn't very far, which isn't very fast.
Got it.
It's not crippling slow, but not, just a steady cruise is what we're doing nowadays.
Yeah. Well, we'll say you guys have probably been moving about warp 3. Maybe with some variance or occasional push to the lower decimals of that. And trying to take as much advantage of friendly subspace currents as possible. Romanov, for your... I'll tell you what, to help provide you some of that narrative context, I will give you a moment in engineering, in part because it will flow into the next scene. Or like there would be a good opportunity for it. So let's see. Let me just make sure that everybody that needs to be here is... Okay. For that first sequence, Romanov, as part of the... as the person chiefly assigned with making sure that the Aegis continues to function, that it is able to sustain even this relatively modest speed that you have been running at for a while. This stay is yet another in the annals that is It's still, it has its stresses, but Aegis is barreling along determined as ever, and with the support of your engineering crews. Much like yourself, the ship has seen some damage, but with steady work, it has been recovering and is sustaining a decent pace. You yourself have, thankfully, at this point, been able to abandon use of the cane and are able to resume more or less heavy duty. There may have been some residual scars left over. I imagine something that Xantar has offered to uh, remedy, essentially, or that could very easily be removed with a dermal regenerator. I will leave it whether you decide to keep them as tokens of the encounter that you had with the shuttle crash so many months back.
I think she would she would have it regenerated because that was actually inadvertently a healing experience for her, that whole, wild adventure of being a writer in Hollywood.
Indeed, the that which you that which you carry from this experience is not the signs of the scars as you mentioned, but the chances you say to heal and to come to a better understanding of what happened to you, not just on that planetoid, but so many years ago when you encountered the artifact. And I'm sure,
Exactly.
as part of that, to help bear this out, there is a growing list of, or a growing text somewhere on a private data file that describes everything that you came to understand.
Yes, absolutely. She's
It's very
she's
entertaining to read.
yes. She'll publish it long after she retires. If she publishes it.
Yeah. But Romanov, where you have found increasing peace and easiness in this situation, the other steady hand in the engine room has just looked mostly worse and worse. He's a little bit, I will say, past couple weeks he's seen a little better for wear, but it is not a happy life of Chief Fernier at the moment.
Well, that's part of what her job is. So when there's a quiet moment, she'll say, "Chief, hey, let's go have a talk."
Yeah, I think it's high time we do that, Commander. So, nestled into an engineering alcove where Fernier dislodges a chair that allows him to sit down for a moment, and he'll, I'm sure, be able to pull out a second one and, or at least offer to if you'd like.
And look, the first thing I want to say is thank you. You really held everything together when I was out. And I'm really sorry about being out. Um,
Commander,
so I just want to acknowledge you kicked ass.
permission to speak freely?
Please.
Hey, I would have done that for you in a heartbeat, and anyone here on the staff would have as well. You have, we had a strange experience getting this girl out of dry dock and having to rush her into action so early, and since that whole mess at Alpha Centauri, you've been a great steady hand on all this.
Well, I could not have done it without having the best engineering crew in the fleet. That's my opinion. And the people that we've, encountered, those that have helped out, have been incredible. So, look, you have borne a lot of weight on your shoulder, and I want to take some shifts from you so that you can, get some sleep. Let your body rest a little bit.
Commander, this is not an issue of the time I am having to work right now. And
Okay.
this is... Look, you're seeing the same readouts that I am. You're, I passed that report along 5 days ago to you, saying that we were essentially past bingo fuel reserves,
Right.
and we're still on course to a planet that, near as we can tell, no sapient life, no outpost of any sort. Uh, I don't know how long we're going to be able to stretch this. Like, we'll make it there, okay, but where do we go next? Like, is there any sort of plan? He says, trying to keep his voices down as much as possible. Is there any sort of plan to get us somewhere that we can resupply? The engine, we are not going to be able to sustain main power, let alone warp drive, for too long after this. And I
Let
don't know
me,
where we're going to be able to get to.
right. Let me talk with Eula on this, okay? Uh, but I do have confidence that the captain had a plan, and I know that the rest of the senior staff is a little bit more in the circle on that than I am because, well, I was out of it for a while. So, let me get that information to you, and I'll go find out what's going on and try not to sweat it too much. But I'm going to make the fuel issue a major priority. How are we going to deal with that?
I understand. No, I'll try to keep calm.
Okay,
Mel-
because
uh,
that's the thing. Sitting out in tin cans with warp drives and life support in the middle of nowhere, it can get to you, and that is sometimes the hardest part of the job. But we just made it through a scenario that we shouldn't have. We were able to get away and not have, say, the noose close around us. So let me get all those answers and then we'll talk.
yeah.
Okay?
He rubs his forehead and says,
And why
"I,
don't you take an early break? I'm gonna schedule a meeting this evening with Eula to make sure that she is absolutely clear on our fuel situation. And just, hit the mess hall now. I got things for the afternoon.
yeah."
Okay?
He rubs his forehead and says, "Maybe you're right. It's like I guess I've been letting this get to me, and it's like Meliza was telling me the other night. You can't let uh, you can't let it all burn through you too fast, otherwise you won't have enough to
That's right.
break orbit."
That's what'll burn you up faster than anything else. Trust me, I know.
Uh,
So, look, go. You're one of the most important people on the ship. Go take an afternoon off.
yep,
Hit the mess hall. Go relax.
yep. Romanov, real quick, give me an insight, and I'll let you either run this with engineering or command.
Let's see. I'm gonna run it with insight and engineering,
Uh,
and just two dice, and probably no focuses, right? Because this is more about
this is more of a
analyzing.
social role here.
That's
Yeah.
what I figured. Okay, so insight and engineering.
Yep.
Here we go.
Okay.
Whatever the target number was.
It was
There
a
we go.
1, so that will earn you a point of momentum.
Woohoo!
As Fernir, like, immediately on on his face, it showed that he said something he didn't mean to, and, like, the slightest trace of embarrassment came over his face. You realize that the name he used is a strange one, and, like, it doesn't. There is no fellow officer in the engineering or other operations divisions that you recognize with that name.
And and his reference was to this person, right?
Somebody he was speaking with the other night was what he said.
Okay. Well, for the moment, I'm going to just process on that one, and I'll write down the name in my data pad
Yep.
because that could be stress related or, other weirdness. God knows.
It could also be a relationship that he's having. He doesn't want to talk about.
Yeah,
Yeah, Fernier does look a touch embarrassed. He says, "Well, I'm gonna go to the mess hall. Away I go. Bye."
It's secretly Bernard.
I thought he's married to the engine.
All engineers are married to the engine.
All
Yeah,
The
that's what I'm saying.
relationship with the engine.
Look,
Mm.
it's not just the engine. Alaska loves this ship. She thinks it's the best ship in the fleet. It's
Having watched the recent Lower Decks, I realized that the Aegis is now so much like the Cerritos in terms of so much patchwork.
yeah.
Yep. And sure enough, all of the senior staff are living out their their various different plot arcs on that ship as well. So it's very much the same in so many ways. Everybody watch. Go ahead.
We have like what? Suliban, Veldanen,
There,
ancient Vulcan. What else? What other technology have we fused onto this goddamn ship by now?
well, there was that one time that you pulled aboard the Xanthonite system.
That's
Oh
right.
yeah, that too.
There's also that weird thing that Xantar picked up off that Klingon ship.
Yep.
Still haven't identified it.
This is Voyager all over again.
And Soral's shuttle. You know.
No, that's gone. I do believe.
I know, but it was there for a long time.
No, I mean, like the state, like how much patchwork, how much various alien technology we have fused onto the ship in just this year alone.
It's a rugged design, but sometimes you've had to improvise even beyond that.
Yeah.
Let's run around here then as Romanov sets the chief to work and does send I imagine you would send a message telling Shira that you need to talk with her at some point today.
I'm gonna compile a fuel report and access quartermaster's files, and reports recently, and basically I'm going to send the hard truth to Eula. Like, this is where the ship's at. This is how much repair stuff. This is our fuel stocks. This is our position. This is as far as we can go once we get to that system. This is the not pretty engineering report, and then request a meeting at the end of it. And I'll walk around though, and I'm gonna just interact with everybody in engineering, make sure they're good, and just fill in for the chief, do his job and my job, and just make sure morale is good.
Yep. Any parting thoughts from Leighton or Bernard before we shift around?
No, Leighton's just working to maintain that things are functioning the way they're supposed to function, despite it not supposed to function in that manner.
Bernard is just pulling out all the parts that aren't supposed to function in that manner and making sure they function in the manner they're not supposed to, because he's the one that's been doing that.
Yeah.
At the end of the shift,
breaking the whole thing.
At the end of the shift, she's going to get everybody together and just, make sure she emphasizes, because each of these individuals has something that they do that's exceptional, and she's just going to recognize that. So,
despite the extreme amount of extra work they are, like I imagine engineering crews having, just to keep this ship alive, Leighton's actually having a pretty good fun time. Like the morale's pretty high for Leighton.
Okay.
Yeah, Bernard's feeling good. He's he's happy working on the ship, and eventually he does go up to the commanders. Commander, nice to see you, looking much better.
And feeling better. Oh yeah, no pain, full mobility. Maybe I'm a little sore at the end of a work shift. That's it.
Oh, that's how you know you've done a good job for the day.
It is.
Well, just want to say, glad to have you back in charge, sir. Would you like some tea? I got it off the doctor.
Yeah, sounds good.
Here you are.
No.
She doesn't know. She'll take the tea and drink it.
Yep.
Oh boy.
Yeah, the flashing indicator lights that you need to check out are now much more colorful as you go through the day.
Oh,
Me. Just
well,
Lucy in the
wow.
sky
This
with
is going to be
diamonds
her.
playing in the background.
Yep.
Luminis walk in.
Oh wow. She goes up to the upper walkway there and just enjoys the light show.
Leighton approaches, and even though he doesn't speak, he mostly speaks by language, and said he has a very posh British accent. I say, sir, it works quite well for being for this engine to work as functionally it does.
It is. And it's so pretty with all the sparkling lights. It's like a Christmas tree.
Bernard just suddenly has like hair that reaches down to his knees and just like big
What's
colorful
the
shirt
commander
on
been?
and
What's the
sunglasses.
commander been doing? He's been looking into the antimatter reaction chamber for the last 5 hours. Shapes and colors.
The light
Yep.
which I've never seen.
Yeah. No, Romanov starts seeing Romanov starts seeing the entire crew has now become like Christmas elves.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, you know what? I'm just gonna fold down a chair here on the second deck from the wall and sit down and enjoy the trip.
Listen, I know you just reminded me. I know it's Christmas, but if the penultimate mission goal is to prevent Mariah Carey from being unthawed, I will be excited and disappointed.
She's the one in the, she's the one in the warp drive. She's the one that powers this thing. We take all our power from her.
Sir, Commander Romanov, we have an imbalance in the Holly Jolly reactor.
Crap!
Oh,
Quick,
Where-
get Buble.
We gotta get Jolly from around the ship. And put it in the
Yes, sir. We need to get the spirit going, otherwise the engine's going to burst with Christmas cheer.
It's just turned into like the
Deploy the
other
reserve
special
anti-canes.
it's just
We'll have to vent the extra Christmas energy through our buzzard ram scoops, making us like Rudolph.
can we have
Right.
board?
So Leighton signals the commander to come on up because the lieutenant commander has lost her on.
Yeah. It's like I put 15 minutes to a warp to a core breach. But yes, let's go around and abandon the holiday festivities for something marginally less ridiculous. As Commander Shira is doing the rounds and on her data pad sees a message has been relayed from the bridge with the top line from Commander Romanov saying, "We need to talk."
Yes, I was hoping you would say it that way.
Okay. Guess we'll talk then. She is reading through the rest of the report, though.
Yeah, it is with some relief that you find out it is in fact about the desperate fuel situation that you are in.
Oh, fuel. Okay, that's...
You two are still good.
Oh, that's a relief. Excellent. Good. I mean,
Yes.
not good. Not relief.
Yep.
Terrible.
Through the cramped hallways as you make your way through Shira, you are interrupted from your reading and your course by a voice from down the hall. Commander, good to see you. Good to see you.
Oh, Helen.
Yes, I'm sorry to bother you. I hope that you're not too busy right now. I had something a little troubling I wanted to bring up.
Oh, of course. Please do.
Yes. First off, he looks into the camera real quick. Hi, Mercury. Hope you're enjoying. Then, going back to the
Camera?
I'm sorry. I saw through the fourth wall a moment ago. I had some tea a little while ago that the doctor supplied me. It's good for stress.
Oh, okay. Oh, maybe I'll get some later.
Yes. I recommend it. In any case, I had somebody who might be in need of some stress, or some stress relief, but he was. So I should say, you know your well. In order to help the children, some of the nights we've been finding activities on the ship for them to do, and your communications officer was very nice about hosting a cultural immersion night with
Oh, good.
yes, old Terran customs. He said he wanted to show everybody his favorite activity to do on the ship, and he played on these just delightful animated visual media.
Yes, I believe they're called cartoons.
Yes. Tunes was definitely part of it. I think it was like some crazy tunes or something like that. Anyway, he did have a moment after one of them where he froze up for a while and didn't change the projection. His eyes were vacant for some reason. I don't know if he has a medical condition of any sort, but I just wanted to...
Was a frog on the screen at the time? It's this kind of green creature, possibly with a top hat.
Yes. I did see a green creature with a top hat in that one. I was there for that night as well, and I've been there every
We
night.
got rid of all those.
Yes, he has a thing about that one. It linked to like a bad memory. So yes, I'm sure he'll be back to his usual self soon.
Okay, well, good. I'm glad that it so long as you think it's okay.
Yeah, so I'll check in on him next time on the bridge.
Right.
But thanks for telling me.
Of course, Commander. I'm gonna go off and he thinks very hard for a moment. Let's see. All I've got is meep, and he says and just walks down the hall.
Yes, meet. Oh, that strange avian creature.
So with that, Captain Hone leaves you. This is not the first strange encounter or request that the former Suliban freighter captain has given you, Shira. It's been a process.
Yes, I imagine for someone who's used to being in command of his own vessel and now not having anything really to do, he's probably a little bit lost at the minute.
Yep. Before heading to the engine room, Shira, would you have any other places that you would want to go on your rounds right now?
No, I don't think I need any drinks from the doctor at this point.
No.
Are you sure?
This is also, I should say, not the first time that you've heard somebody on the list receiving the doctor's tea at this point. I think that's become as some ambient stress has increased on the crew, you've had a few more reports of strange behavior, mostly off duty.
Good, as long as it's mostly off duty, I don't mind. As long as it doesn't interfere with ship's functions, that's fine.
Over the intercom, I just imagine all hands on deck 4. We will be rerouting. We'll be rerouting some secondary power to. The hell's regulating the Holly Jolly reaction?
I'm going to engineering.
You'll hear from the bridge, the intercom back saying, "This is the captain. Belay that order," and just sign back off.
Shira just kicks open the door to engineering. Listen here, you chuckle fucks.
Yep. So yes, going down to the down in the engine room after protestations from a certain Grinch on the bridge. Shira, you step into the room.
You see Romanov
Bernard.
up there, sitting in a chair, looking wide-eyed, kind of staring at the engine.
Bernard? Leighton?
Ah, hello, Commander.
What was that announcement?
Oh,
Earlier.
don't worry about that, sir. The commander, she just had a little bit of tea, and she just
Tea?
needs to relax a bit.
Oh, no, don't tell me it was... Don't tell...
Leighton approaches and just kind of gives like a
Xantar's special brew.
Yeah, the doctor gave it to me. Well, actually, he didn't give it to me. I picked it up when he wasn't looking.
Oh. Oh, that's... And then you gave that to the Lieutenant
Yeah,
Commander.
I honestly,
Yes.
I've been enjoying it very much, and so I thought maybe the commander might appreciate a little downtime with it. It's very soothing.
Oh, she looks very soothed, all right.
Oh yeah.
Leighton sort of gestures toward where Romanov is sitting.
Romanov's like, are we gonna... We've got to vent that jolliness through the buzzard ram scoops.
Okay, right, I'll... Okay, right.
Oh, Eula!
I'll... Oh, God. Oh, yeah. Hi,
Come on up!
Lieutenant Commander Holly Jolly.
I like
What?
your Christmas dress.
Right, okay, we're gonna just help you back to your quarters here, I think.
Well, that's so Christmas. You're helping burn some of the jolly off the engines. There's
I'm sure the engines will be jolly and what's the other Christmas terms? Merry and full of
joy.
Christmas joy.
Joy.
Yes, joy. That's another word that seems to be associated with that celebration. Okay, yes. So they're all fine and they'll be good. And so we'll just take you back to your quarters.
Sounds great.
Yeah.
Bye, jolly engine.
The engine replies in kind. Goodbye, Romanov. Merry Christmas.
Just has a top hat and a candy cane on it.
Yep. So the two of you make your way down the little staircasing and the through the hatch, which opens up just before you.
Oh, thank God. Xantar, you have any anything which nullifies the effect of your tea? Because the Lieutenant Commander
okay.
here has had rather a lot.
Yes, I do.
Yes.
And it sort of fumbles around.
She
a bit.
looks at Xantar and goes, "You work for Santa Claus too?"
Like, Xanto looks at Shira with a what?
Should just don't just give her the thing.
Right. Yes, I work for Santa Claus too, and he asked me to give you this. And he brings up a hyper spray. And just...
Remember, Santa Claus was your third cousin on your mother's side.
But yeah, he'll initiate an antidote to Romanov.
Thank you, Santa's Dr. Elf.
How long will that take to affect?
Take about 5 minutes.
Okay.
She's playing with Shula's hair right now. You know, your hair is really cool.
It is. I condition it well. That's okay. Well, thanks to that, Doctor. Just take a look at Barnard as well. He
Yes,
he
I
apparently
shall.
took a whole cup of it.
A whole Bernard! As you just see Bernard sort of like disappear down one of like Jeffrey's tubes.
Yep.
And Santor goes chasing after him.
Yep. Let's see. So, Shira, would your
She looks at Eula. We're leaving Santa's warp workshop.
Yep, the or warp shop.
Yeah, warp shop. Santa has a workshop, so this must be his warp shop.
Yes, it must power his
Sleigh
manufacturing facilities.
and his sleigh. Yeah, you're right. It must power the manufacturing facilities too.
Shira, are you still at, like, you notice that, well, Xantar's told you that the effects of the antidote should be relatively short-acting. Would your inclination still be to get Romanov at least somewhere relatively secure whilst she comes down?
Back to her quarters. Hopefully she'll have come down a bit by then.
All right. Well, then we'll take you on that route here, and for our purposes, let's see. Romanov will you'll see Shira open the gingerbread hatch, and
That's awesome. I almost try to eat it, but I was like, no, if you live in a gingerbread, she looks at Eula and she goes, if you live in a gingerbread house, you don't want to eat the door.
Please don't eat any doors. Don't eat the walls, the ceiling, no
I love
furniture.
the lights around this place.
It's all just none of this is edible.
Right. Well, if you live in a gingerbread ship, you certainly don't want to eat it. We better put out an announcement about that. People might get hungry.
I'll run it past the captain.
Do that.
Yeah.
let's see. So, we can either take you right up to Romanov's quarters, or if anyone else wants a different scene, then we can go about this through our impromptu Christmas episode. Seeing no requests, I am content to keep it rolling here. Let's see here. So, Shira, you will get Romanov, eventually back up to her quarters on the aft deck here, or on the aft segment of the cylindrical primary hull. It's a bit of a haul, but you're able to ensure that she's back. Romanov, by the time that you make it there, things are feeling just a little bit less magical, I'll say. It's not completely
she's
gone.
Probably, that was a wonderful sleigh ride. Thank God it's coming to an end.
Yeah, sleigh ride, sure.
Do you have sleighs on Andoria? Because you have so much snow there.
We do have sleighs, sledges, toboggans, skis, ice skates.
That's really cool.
Most of them are a little bit antiquated now, but
My grandmother lived in Russia in an area that was very cold and it was snowy most of the year.
and was she the one to move to Alpha Centauri from your family?
Yes, the family moved in that generation. She left Russia and, well, yeah, you're right. We moved to Alpha Centauri. More mud and rain than snow.
Yes, I remember.
I'm not experiencing any more hallucinations, right? I'm not in a gingerbread quarters, right?
I would say that at this point, the quarters looks to be completely normal. Shira's uniform no longer appears to be a knitted, ugly Christmas sweater, or it's the usual sort of stitched jumpsuit. I will allow you one little bit of strange affect that you can see, um, if you want to name one. If you don't have one in mind, maybe her antennae momentarily look like candy canes.
That's pretty cool, but I'm not going to tell her about that.
Yeah, it's just that you look, you see, you give her like a slightly strange look for a moment, and just start.
Eula notices she's looking right at her antennae.
What? Oh, there's something on my head?
No, no, no. Your antennae were looking like candy canes there for a little bit.
Oh, right. Yes.
Hey,
Those
candy
are
Christmas season.
right. Yes. Okay. But try not to eat them just yet. Okay. But you're coming. They no longer look like candy canes.
Do they still look? No, I think it's fading. They're
Oh,
fading.
okay.
Yeah, and we're not in a gingerbread ship anymore. I was thinking, wow, that's a lot of engineering problems.
Okay. Good. Right. Well, since you're back in this dimension, you sent me a
Oh,
notice
yeah.
about all the the lack of fuel.
Yeah, she walks over and picks up the data pad and goes, "Yeah, look, Leighton is really worried. It's putting him, well, not Leighton, but Chief Furrier is been very worried about it. We have enough fuel to get to our destination. We don't know of any other place we can pick up fuel. And yeah, supplies are running low. If we have additional events, they're going to be very difficult to deal with. So basically, the engineering department, is, well, drinking tea, obviously, to occasionally get away from it all. But yeah, I
Oh
mean,
no.
that's a pro team down there, and they know where the numbers are at. So she sits down and gets serious again. So, yeah, I'm bringing this to you as number one. What's going on? What's the plan? And keeping engineering in silence about what the plan is, um, that's not good. That will increase
No,
the
it
amount
is.
of mistakes people make because they are agitated and they don't understand what's going on.
You're right. It's not an ideal position. Um, can I ask? Has the captain has elaborated anything more about their destination to Eula?
Nope. You've been told time and again that she will inform you once you get there, but that we need to get there.
Marcus asks at least once per day.
Are we there yet? Are we there yet? Are we there?
No,
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 not
no.
more like, can you tell us anything now? How about now? How about
Now?
now? Why are we at the L? Ah!
So Romanov looks at Eula and says, "Look, I understand on certain missions, transparency is, limited sometimes, but, you know, this has gone beyond that. I've got my, the next, the two most important people there in terms of planning and executing anything is me and the chief." And he's starting to freak out. Now part of that is he got overworked while I was in medical, but yeah, um, I need to be in on the loop because maybe I can give suggestions. Maybe I trust the captain. I pretty much have done whatever she's asked.
We are almost there, though, Shira.
She's gonna sit on the bed. There's honestly, okay. Don't tell anyone outside this room.
Okay.
I haven't got a clue where we're going. I can draw a line of our current course along some star charts, make a fairly educated guess about what star systems lie on it. But beyond that, I have not been informed about our destination.
Well, my question about this is that, okay, great, we're going there. Is there going to be any fuel there? Because my question is, how are we going to get back?
That's a very good question.
I will bring up on my computer screen, just assuming a destination 2 weeks to 2 weeks ahead of us, or 3 weeks. I'll assume it's 3 weeks. How much? When would we run out of fuel, assuming we expend a conservative amount of fuel in a star system?
Well, without
When would
knowing
we run?
like presuming that sort of worst case scenario,
Yeah.
you would guess that maybe you could sustain present warp for perhaps another 3 to 4 months.
But that won't get us back to Terra, right?
Not by a long stretch.
Yeah, and that's what I showed her. Based on that return trajectory, she's also going to map out possible systems that might have antimatter or be willing to trade for it.
We are in a section of unexplored space.
So there's just a bunch of question marks. So we don't even know where we're going to be able to trade to get fuel. And we don't
Correct.
have much more to trade, Eula.
Yes, we'll need to start prospecting if that's the case.
I mean, that's why to be fair, there's reason why there's Bassard collectors and whatnot. Just to be on the safe side.
Collect the deuterium.
Deuterium, isn't it?
Yeah,
Is it?
and
Yeah.
you still have to have your antimatter reserves, and those exist
That's
as
true.
props. So
And that's
she knows right where these numbers are at, and
Yeah.
she's a whiz at math, obviously being an engineer. So she's mapping all this out for you.
Yeah.
You can collect all the deuterium that we want, Eula, but without the other part of the mix, I can't make energy.
Okay.
It doesn't matter how fucking jolly that engine is, Eula. It's,
It'll get less jolly the less antimatter it has.
that's pretty much it.
All right. Okay. I believe we are probably close to where we're going, but
Okay.
once we've sorted that out, I think we're.
Is this
Next meeting with the captain, I'm going to press upon her the need for us to find antimatter, which means trading. somewhere.
and processing antimatter in the field? Yeah, that's a trick and a half. How are you doing?
Not great.
Are you in the dark on this mission?
Ooh.
See, Shira is getting more agitated.
You can't talk about it.
It's. Oh, I could talk about it. I can talk about it, and I guarantee you, it won't get me any trouble with Starfleet.
She's got sort of a quizzical look on her face, like she was assuming this was some kind of ultra secret mission that the captain was executing.
Careful, Shira.
Shira, I'll say first, Craig. Message me whenever you feel like you want to queue a moment to get it to stop, because I do have a way they can interrupt the scene and play as Shira's emergency eject. But yeah, the head captain is a little over the shoulder, though you try to silence her as best as you can.
Look, it's okay. Let's drop this. I've given you the report.
Yeah. I'm getting a bit fed up of a few things. Let's just say that.
Okay. Well, you have my support. How's your leg how's your injury doing?
Oh, that's fine. That was relatively minor. The captain's chair took a bit of repair.
She nods. Well, if you need to talk to someone, I'm here. And I won't repeat whatever happens in this room.
She'll just give her a look, and it's almost pleading at this point. Just
It's okay. She comes over and gives her a hug. It's okay. Don't worry about it. I'll do what I do and keep this thing operational. I'm gonna start needing hairpins though.
I'll see if I can lend you some. She's just gonna lean in and rest her head against Alaska's shoulder.
Well, she understands that, so she'll pat her head and, she understands something's going on, and it's enough that it's got her rattled. So, okay, I will completely trust you on this, and the captain, and, you know, we are where we are. I will keep pep talking the chief, but he feels like he's not in the loop. And I understand him on that one.
There's not much of a loop at the minute to be in on.
Okay. We'll hang out here for a little bit
Yeah.
until you get called out. Okay? You want something to drink?
Let's keep off the alcohol for now, but yeah, let's have a nice drink.
Sounds good. I think that's a good end to the scene.
Yeah.
Zach.
Oh, sorry about that. My mic was off. I right when I had also made the crack too about it. Hopefully not being another case of Xantar's tea on special order.
I was tempted, but I thought, no, leave it this time.
Yes. Better to leave it on the nice touching note.
Exactly.
But yes, so with all of that, some at a later point in the day, I will ask just one more time if anybody else wants another moment or scene of their own before we get too far into anything else.
Nope.
No, right. Then we'll just go on from there. For whether from the windows in Romanov's quarters, or from anywhere else, or even just the feel of the deck plates, there will come a point later on in the day where it does. But there will come a point later in the day where you do in fact feel the ship slow and drop out of warp. And with that, I imagine senior staff would be called to the bridge at that time. Would that be a fair sentiment?
Yep. Yes, they would.
All right. So let's set things up here. Just getting people around. Horn, would you prefer to have been on the bridge at this point, like during this moment, or would you rather have him step on with everyone else?
If I had known that we were to arrive, I would be on the bridge. If I hadn't, I would be busy elsewhere.
Yeah. You would have at least been, I don't know what the captain would have said to you, but you would at least have known that the ship was getting very close to an otherwise unremarkable, I want to say it was a yellow dwarf star system, nothing that seemed inhabited, but that sciences had reported detecting in the past few days a remarkable power source of some sort, or unexplained energy readings.
Okay, then I would be on the bridge, excitedly waiting for what we find.
Yep. All right. Let's see. Xantar, Romanov, would the two of you come up with Shira, or would you prefer to remain at your stations?
I'm gonna come up with Shira. I'll whoever is next senior in line, I'll make sure they're running engineering, because
Fernir will come back.
Okay.
Though I imagine.
Sorry, carry on, Zach.
Quite all right. So let's see. Before you all step back onto the bridge, we will set things here in the moment. Horn, Sharp, the two of you are... I'll leave it to you to establish what anything that you might be doing at the moment, but I think first we would focus on the helm, where Remora, you are presently guiding the ship in at now at impulse power as you've taken it out of warp, exchanging notes as you would have in the past, navigational coordinates and whatnot, with Kesh, your old friend from pirating days who has taken to joining you more often at navigation now. Let me... There's a 0.07 degree variance in the engines. You're going to want to correct your course there, Remora.
Compensating now.
This might not turn on quite the same pace as the old Raider did, but at least her engines are a bit more reliable.
And more durable.
I think the ship appreciates the compliment. This is the captain overhearing.
Kesh kind of looks sheepishly, but he's gotten a little more comfortable with everything. It helps that Sharp is not a Nausicaan that will threaten physical violence at the nearest bit of insubordination or shit-talking.
Still might threaten physical violence.
I was about to say she's a human who threatens physical violence.
Yeah. Just, you got to stay in a good mood. That's very much it.
He hasn't learned to fear Sharp properly yet.
Yeah.
Not yet.
Sharp smiles when she threatens, so it seems less threatening.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes. So, as Kesh and Remora continue their banter, Sharp, Horn, anything that you would want to say to each other?
I will say that for the last few days, like the closer we've gotten to her destination, Sharp has worn her phaser at her hip, but not in like some like I'm gonna shoot everybody type of manner, but just seems more, at least like sort of almost like as if it's sort of like in of itself is a way mission, or at least probably like in preparation of something. But
is it because I would have noticed and at least pondered the idea? Is it because you expect trouble, or because you feel safer with it just out of sheer habit?
Probably a little bit of both. Like, we're getting closer to destination, and so she's trying to make herself ready in case some surprise going to come at her, whether it's whatever, whatever the hazard messing with the timeline, or cabal, or just God knows what else, right? But also just as a comfort.
It's worth noting, for everyone's purposes, things have been very quiet over these past few days, past couple months since you undertook the portal.
Quiet even for Star Trek.
Even for that, it's been, not discounting an upper decks or lower decks adventure type thing, where everyone's dealing with their own personal demons or whatnot. There hasn't been any adventure to the same scale as what you've dealt with previously. Just ambient buildup of stress and concern.
Yeah, I think that in of itself is a little nerve-wracking. But yeah, so she's just calmly been having her sidearm with her. And she's not like jumpy or anything like that. She's just on her instead of not.
Well, to trade in kind, you've probably noticed. I don't know how much you sleep these days, but you are not sure Marcus sleeps at all. He's like always somewhere doing something. Which seems all to be increasingly getting worse the closer we get.
Yeah. Probably the night before, she would have bugged you and been like, make sure you get some rest before we get there.
I'd ask you the same. It's not the first time they have this similar conversation.
Yeah.
But as I would also stand a bit closer than usual so that we can silently converse a bit without like the whole bridge knowing.
Yeah.
It's like, I hope the wait was worth it.
Me too. So far, so good, though, with the sensors picking up what it has.
Anytime you want to drop any hints.
Once I know it's there.
The door opens to the turbo lift behind you. In steps Shira, Romanov, and Xantar.
Glad you all can make it.
Forgive me, Captain. I would have been here sooner, but I had to deal with a minor issue.
About that, Doctor, I understand that it is quite relieving for you, but I do ask that at the very least you keep the tea away from on-duty officers.
Yes, Captain. I understand.
Thank you. She's got a small, relaxed smile.
And I don't know why you can't share what's in the tea actually. What's actually in the tea.
It wouldn't. We can talk about that if you want, Mr. Horn. But
Another
strange.
time. Another time, please, she says.
Kesh, looking up from the navigational console, says, "Captain, we are closing on the planet at the coordinates you have specified. It is now within visual range."
On screen.
Before you, a dull, brownish, purplish planet with some cloud cover hangs in the distance. From just the guess of it, it's not a whole lot special to it. It looks like it could conceivably have water on it, which I guess might at least guarantee the chance for it to be Class M. Otherwise, it hangs out there like a dull marble in the dark.
There, man, it is such a like you, Horn. Since you're the most, you're the intelligence officer's most receptive of insight and whatnot. I'll give this for free. But there's a mix of both relief and like more tension. Relief that is that we'll finally hear. Tension of she's really hoping that it's exactly what she's been looking for.
So you're not sure if it's what you're looking for yet.
Like relief that I got here finally, but like the tension of I could be wrong. She'll slowly curl her fingers and then look over to Melnick. Melnick, can you provide a scan? Crichton, I need you to lock down this ship of any other further communications outward.
Hey, sir. I am securing subspace communications. Melnyuk is going to pull up the visor, which tells you that this is serious, particularly since she now has a difficulty 5 reason plus science roll, assisted by the ship's sensors and science.
How?
This is a situation where the ship will not help, or the ship rather is already kind of working its magic here if it tells you how significant what she is confronting is.
Oh dear.
Is it an absolute of 5, or is like 5 the most results you can get?
So it is like 5 is the kind of absolute there. It would be higher in essence if it were, if not for the limit that things set. But there is such a trait in effect as to make it impossible for even your ship's improved sensors to affect a reduction.
Quickly, someone's bench reduce difficulty. Quickly, please, chat, please.
DM. How hard of it was for those old scientists to find it last time?
It was, based on what little you know of the record of that time, it was almost dumb luck, essentially.
Okay.
But I mean, you already know that there is a power source on this planet of some sort. It's more trying to ascertain some specifics.
Yeah.
So, let's see. Al is going to, if nobody else has anything they want to do here, Al is going to take a roll with a sensor operations focus.
Don't think we can do anything else, can we?
We can throw an extra die.
I mean, that at least.
1 momentum. Yes.
Yeah.
Is that all we have?
Yeah.
That's
where we started.
Great.
Yep.
Don't we start with some amount of momentum?
No, I only start with threat. I will say you do have one option that we've added during the latter half of the campaign, because Modiphius had released their 2nd edition and they had made some changes to their how they do power management and all that. Basically, there is a reserve power option where the ship can essentially gain an auto crit in place of its usual roll, and you just say you are committing reserve power to a ship task, and reserve power, unlike determination, it can be regenerated with the power management task.
All right, yeah, we'll put reserve power into the sensors.
Okay, so an auto crit, no need for the ship to roll here. So Melnyuk must, if you are expending your point of momentum, then she will roll 3 dice. Okay, I am deducting the point for streams purposes, and I will have her roll.
Oh.
That is 4 successes from Melnyuk alone, plus 2 successes by committing the ship's reserve power to sensors. So she pulls out the science periscope visor type thing. It illuminates with a blue light as she peers in between that and it looks over consoles. Yeah, Captain, the planet has no signs that I can detect of any biosigns, or at least nothing of any sapience. There might be some rudimentary life still there. It's definitely a Minshara class planet, but there's what is the power levels I'm detecting? They chart well beyond anything I've ever seen. And what the hell is going on with this? Captain, I think that there's some sort of distortion of some sort, but I can't tell you exactly what it is. It doesn't make any sense. It's as though through various points, it's like the light isn't moving properly from the planet. It's as though there's... I don't know exactly how else to say it other than that, which makes no sense because in an interstellar medium without any sort of opposition, the light should travel at one consistent speed. But it seems as though we're not entirely... Something is off, Captain, and I don't know how to justify or explain it.
She looks a little more relieved. Horn.
Just as a quick aside here, guys, because you scored 6 successes on that, you regain 1 point of momentum.
Yay!
Woo.
Woo.
I do think I have coordinates to the source of the power. It's a very particular region on seems like a mountainous region. Have to get a closer look in order to get through there. Whatever sort of differences that we're seeing on the that I'm seeing in terms of the relative differences in light transmission, it seems to be there as well, and because of that very high difficulty roll that she succeeded at, another part of her console beeps. Wait. Gravimetric distortion coming from astern. It's a warp signature, sir. It's them.
Condition red.
Action stations, action stations. All hands report to your action stations. As you rush to consoles, the familiar and unfortunate condition has come about. Where sure enough, with the time that you've taken, you just manage to have enough time before you find yourself with a Kzinti vessel on top of you. You are now about to be in combat. Since you've detected them making their appearance initially, you do get the advantage of the first roll. I am going to see how close they get into you when they show up. So I'm going to call this a maximum difficulty of 3 for their roll. Anything over that, and I will gain some threat. But this is to determine how precise they were. So that will be...
They have to run out of ships eventually.
You would hope.
How they... Oh.
Oh no. Oh no.
Is it actually 20? It's actually 2 20s.
It's actually 220 and an 18. I mean,
Oh
that's
my-
just...
Okay. With a double complication,
They
They
explode.
crash into the planet.
They just explode.
Crash into the planet, accidentally wipe out whatever Sharp is there for. Oh, well.
No.
The
Well, that's the story over. Dun, dun, dun,
Uh,
dun, 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 dun.
Time to go home. Yep.
Captain,
Alright.
they decided to board and they beamed all of their crew into space.
And all of their fuel is beamed over. How convenient.
All right. So here's I am going to treat this as a narrative complication here. Captain, you watch on the view screen as Aegis is prepared for combat, as the Kzinti drop out of warp into in front of the planet ahead of you. It seems as though they, whether they understand completely what they are doing or not, they are hoping to be an obstacle for what they imagine is your target. Unfortunately, the moment that they drop into warp, they are suddenly buffeted and begin just an uncontrolled spin in a sudden direction, and you have to imagine at the rate at which they need to put back that part of the battle grid.
Ooh.
That's load bearing.
Gravity distortion there has thrown off the targeting sensors, clearly.
Yep. They get buffeted into the next zone, and as they get sent over, continuing their spin, the ship seems to ripple, break, and explode as the antimatter detonates, and the ship just goes.
No, we needed that antimatter.
Damn it, no.
Yep. So you guys are treated to the bright light on the view screen as the bridge is flashed with an explosion.
I expect there's just like several seconds of just silence.
Yes.
Did we win?
Are there any more ships coming in?
Well, if there are any other ships out there, Milnyuk says, that vessel just sent up an antimatter flare that could probably be seen from halfway across the sector. The subspace disruptions alone are considerable, sir, but I don't know how that happened.
Did it
Let's
look
just
like
let's just take the boon where we can. Remora, guess within low orbit of the planet.
You got it. That was weird.
Shira, keep an eye on everything.
Yeah. Very, very quickly, does this planet have a proper magnetosphere around it? Does it have proper poles with?
It does, I will say.
Yeah. Because I know in certain Star Trek episodes, hiding around the poles can help disrupt the sensors of other ships,
Okay.
making it hard to detect.
Yep. Remora, this will be a rare instance where, since you are not in combat, I will permit Impulse to I will permit you to do so without No. It should still be effectively. I should still be using the zone questions. So, if you want to move one zone at a time, it is a hop at thrusters. If you want to go two zones, it would be impulse. So low orbit.
We'll go impulse.
All right, Remora. If you will give me the first roll there, then I will ask you for engines control plus con, with engines con assisting and a point of power being expended for that purpose. A trait is now in effect. I am going to rule that task will be conducted with a complication range of 2, but a difficulty of 1.
Got it. Ka-chow. No!
There's a lot of 20s recently.
Our ship spins out of control and explodes.
Well, we do get a momentum because of backup plans.
Well,
We can spend.
he did technically succeed at the roll, though.
Oh, okay.
But
Damn
would
it.
somebody like to roll engines and con for the ship?
Yeah, I can do that. There it is.
Okay. And Cheesy, I will ask. You have rolled a complication there. Also, Pete, remember its complication range is now 2, which that it doesn't matter for this case.
Okay.
Would you prefer to take the narrative complication? Would you prefer to ignore it and grant me 2 points of threat? Or would you, well, you don't have the momentum to buy it off, unfortunately, so those are your only options.
Now, this is just me, but I don't feel like this is really a Star Trek game unless Zach has at least 9 threat.
You're not wrong.
Fair.
Is everybody cool with that?
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah, go on.
The GM
Take
will
the threat.
The GM will take 2 points of threat. For reference on the stream, I did go down to 4 points to activate a trait, which arguably the Kazinti themselves stumbled into, but I activated it for our players as well. Yes, Remora, moving through space, it seems easy enough at first, but there is some buffeting, some sort of very light shaking, things that seem to push you a little off course. Kesh here and there will reply, adjust 3 degrees to port. We're off plane again. Z minus 15 degrees.
Cap, we're getting a little shakes over here as we're getting closer.
She's trying to remember how the old scientist did it. Both the legends or the rumors and the actual classified files,
Such that you would have had any access to them. Just not likely. I guess if you want to give me a reason and command roll here, I would give you a... It would be a difficulty 4 roll to try and remember any of this.
Yeah.
Is there any way we can help? Because I can't think of
No.
one.
Because it's not your timeline. No, just a full-on bold roll. Okay. Let's do. I'm gonna use the value Kirk is made famous for. It. I laid the groundwork.
I will let you tap that. Are you going for the automatic critical success?
Yes. And I'm going to spend momentum to make momentum here. Hopefully.
All right.
And I know for a fact there is no focus I would have for this, so at least one that you would permit me. God damn it.
That is 2 successes from Sharp, combined with the automatic critical success. That is...
Wait,
so that's a total
I
of 4.
have cautious command. I can re-roll that shit.
Oh, nice. So
Do it.
the narrative complication you rolled there, that natural 20 can be re-rolled for
Yeah.
a 5th success. So that is 5 there.
And then veteran. No. Not for
Okay,
this. Not
you-
for this session.
You do not regain your determination.
Yeah. Okay. So yes, 5 successes. That means I get my momentum back,
Indeed.
and I
indeed.
succeed.
Okay. So let me make those corrections.
I mean, Kirk did use the portal like twice or 3 times, right?
I've relayed a message to you here so that you know a little bit. But anyway, a little bit of memory does occur to you here, Sharp, as you think back to some of the information.
Right. We would remember it. You wouldn't have it yet. If she gets up, Mjolnir, if you could step aside for a moment.
Captain, are you planning on working one of the quote-unquote science miracles?
Something of the sort.
She kind of looks a little baffled, but just steps aside.
It's been a few decades, but I do know my basics, she says, under her breath.
All right.
As she just types it in.
Okay, you set parameters as best as you recall. Give me, for this one, I'll give you one more task. Since you're working from slightly foggy memory, but you did have a bit of a brush up, give me control plus science, or control plus
science works.
And I'll call it a difficulty 2 roll.
Cool. I'll use momentum again. And let's go. There you go.
Okay, with 2 points of success, you won't regain the momentum you've expended there, but...
Sadness.
Yep. Mjolnir will look over the sensors and say, Captain, what is this?
I'll explain later in a little bit, but please use this to navigate us through.
As she retakes position, I'm detecting some sort of waves of that are intersecting with the light distortions. Some sort of exotic particle mass of some kind. I've never seen anything like this before. Here, I'll relay information, Mr. Remora. This should help you get through without too much of a problem. Whatever these are, it seems to be emanating from that focal point on the surface. So, Remora, you may attempt it again. I am going to say, as you would have gotten closer, the complication range would have increased. I'm going to allow you to hold it to 2.
Yay. Let's go.
All right, that is another 2 successes. At this point, I should say the difficulty is going to start going up because there is a bit more chop, even with you're avoiding the worst of whatever these mass particles are, but you are still kind of working against a current here. If you would like to try and earn momentum, the ship can be rolled. Just a reminder that complication range is still 2.
Somebody roll that.
One sec.
Hey.
3 successes. All right. Let's see. With that,
We get momentum back.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do. And I'm just very quickly putting you guys back on the grid. As Aegis, despite a few... Aegis is seeing a few more bumps and a bit more buffeting as it closes into range, but it is starting to you're managing to keep things much more steady than you were. Or Remora, you feel like before you were fumbling around in the dark. But now at this point, things are beginning to steady out. At this point, you could probably use thrusters to set yourself into a proper orbit. So a final task. This one will not expend power. Same conditions. The complication range will go up to 3 at this stage, however.
You want to use momentum, my dude?
How many do we have now?
One. Just one.
Just one. So yeah, sure. That'll give us 1 extra die, right?
Yeah. But give us a third. Yes.
Ciao.
Nice.
Ciao, indeed.
And we get it back.
Yep, assisted by the ship.
Hey.
Hey, we get 2. Take it.
All
Building
right.
the pool up.
Yep. So with that, Aegis is able to pull past the worst of these particle emanations and enter into a low orbit, thus bringing us to a position here.
Nice. Classic.
Yeah. So, let's see. As Aegis pulls into orbit around the ship, Captain, you are able to breathe a sigh of relief as though the ship has buffeted and shook at different points. It is it seems to have steadied out, and you are finally here.
She looks Ashley relieved. Horn.
So what are we looking at?
What is this planet?
She just takes a moment to look at the planet and then looks around at the crew. All senior staff, we're going to have a meeting. It's time to tell you everything.
To the meeting room.
For summary, just so we get through the initial like 10 minutes. I relayed the rest of the senior crew the same details that I told Horn and Shira so far.
I do think that before we set things in, I should clarify one. There's one point I should clarify as people are stepping away. Melnyuk is about to. Let's see. That's as close to a signature as she could have. She's staring through the visor segment. Captain, I may need a few minutes here just to confirm something, but I will be to that meeting here as quick as I can.
Of course.
All right. So, actually, it's more of an advantage, so I should, since it's not really changing anything narratively, or not as of yet. So I'm going to rescind the threat spend there, and just give her. She might earn you some momentum here in a moment instead.
Nice. Yeah. So cue 5 minutes as I explain the same details that I've given Shira and Horn, except now I'm giving to the rest of senior staff.
Yep. So
I can't help but watch out for inconsistencies.
I give you the exact same details.
Okay.
It's just well.
It's nothing personal. It's nothing personal.
Nope. It's look, she has you. She kind of gives you like a smile when kind of noticing the shrewd sort of look, and just says, I do believe that's what I've told you, right, Horn?
But is it
I
too
was really
similar?
Too
Uh,
precise.
So,
still
in
hoping that there's some there's somewhere is the punchline of this joke.
yeah, but for the rest of you, you learn for the first time that Captain Sharp, if that is in fact her name, she assures you that she is Sharp, but that she may also be somebody else, and that somebody else may be from a point well into the future, with interests meant to help you correct what is apparently a timeline that is now off kilter.
Very off kilter.
Xantar is just like looking at the captain with like his mouth is partially open, just like processing all of this.
He's checking his tea if you've taken any.
Romanov is watching, has been watching Marcus Horn's reactions.
I have informed my first officer and Mr. Horn here about a few months ago, and I have expressly asked them to keep it secret, given the necessity of the opposition we have. There are a number of threats, and based upon the evidence we've had so far, they could be psionic in nature, and I needed secrecy at the most highest priority.
So where do we hear from now?
So what is the plan?
Well, here is where things hopefully get a little easier. And the planet below is a artifact being a guardian who has been keeping vigil for the last few eons. One that wouldn't be discovered by Starfleet for another few centuries, but given the fact that they are one of the few benign beings that can manipulate time, I thought it'd be most pertinent to reach them and figure out exactly where the change started. And hopefully, if they allow me, to put a stop to it with your help or my own.
Put a stop to it. How?
She gives a shrug. By any means. Peacefully, hopefully. But
Why would this guardian help us even?
because it doesn't enjoy the timeline being tampered with in the first place.
Then why hasn't it already corrected it?
It tends to consider itself an observer before it manipulates itself. It has a lot more responsibility in that sort of line of thinking, instead of us foolish young races.
Does this being have a name, or do we know its species?
I'm sorry here. Sirs, are we not flabbergasted by this whole situation? Where, I mean, this story is incredible here, but we're
Oh no, just be
is.
Crichton. I'm just as flabbergasted as you are, but I think dwelling on that is not going to help in this situation. Though I appreciate your flabbergastery.
I'm sorry if I'm this is especially if you're going to start traveling across the stars further, this is pretty much going to be like a Monday for the rest of you. From this point onward, she gives a small smile, like a small, look almost mildly jovial smile.
Just to clarify, Captain, when exactly did you travel back to? Am I phrasing it correctly? At what point did you arrive in the past?
2 years and 8 months.
I see.
1 week after the Zindi incident.
So you've been in this state, you've had this time altered situation, the entire time you've been aboard, everything that's happened since you've been here, you've known something was wrong.
How exactly am I supposed to tell anybody without sounding crazy, Crichton? How am I supposed to do anything outside of what I can, when I can, without being as bad as those who have already done damage? This whole expedition has been to reach this place, in addition to the exploration and other parameters that we have laid out.
Crichton is kind of furrowing his brow. There's definitely something going on, like in his head with this whole situation, but he's not sure quite how to take it just yet.
How is Marcus Horn reacting to all this?
Calm, collected. I mean, he's heard this before, as you've been told. Intrigued, really.
As I was saying, to some of my previous questions, do we know this being's name or the species?
The Guardian of Forever.
Good
No,
title.
it's not a. No,
Well,
that's
that's
creative, but
promising under the circumstances.
Such nuances and titles tend to be a constant thing out here. She gives another nostalgic smile. But this is someone to respect, and certainly not something to manipulate. I doubt it can be manipulated, to be honest.
so considering that a Zindi ship just arrived, I'm assuming they know
Gesundheit.
about this. Thank you.
Gesundheit.
Gesundheit. Assuming they know about this being, which is why they're here, does that mean they know
No,
about you?
I'm pretty sure they're here because of me and the ship, and then what's here. No one should know that this is here. I alone only know due to she just like tries to like make a like the trying to figure out temporal mechanics. Previous captains have visited this only by sheer luck. God damn it. Spend the 2 momentum, GM, to get rid of that 20.
I accidentally rolled 3 dice there. It should only be 2, so allow me to fix that here.
What are you even rolling?
No.
The
success.
science officer. Name
Yeah.
I forget.
But and only by sheer luck at the time.
But then the Zinti, that one, that species,
Has been hunting us already.
for
I hope.
you.
Yes, as we saw before the portal, and for the last 6 months.
But
I'm
more because
hoping.
they consider Captain Sharp a worthy prey rather than through any temporal antics, is my understanding.
Because of the things that happened when we discovered that Kazinti vessel, things that she did, would that have even happened without?
I will thankfully say that the attitudes towards Starfleet and Kazinti, or the Alpha Quadrant and Kazinti, are pretty similar, save a few years.
Fair enough.
But I have a question on this, sir.
Feel free.
So obviously, things went differently long beforehand.
Badly.
Yes.
Badly.
Yes. And we've been doing something different this whole time, but you believe that this artifact, this entity, it can somehow correct the timeline. If you succeed, and that happens to them, what happens to us in the here and now?
Better future. A lot less death. A lot less strife. At least for a little while.
Well, I think he's referring to the more immediate consequences for the crew itself. And knowing what I know of temporal theories is that we would return to our appropriate, and like he puts like a quotation marks around it, point in space and time. Whatever that may be.
If everything works the way that that the captain is planning to, but if it doesn't, then we're still here facing down who only knows what. And worst thing that could we be on a branch of this of time, as it were? But I'm very confused.
Well, gravity and time have a relationship. As we know, anything in orbit of a planet is slightly different in terms of
I
time.
think Romanov, he's asking about what happens if my plan doesn't come into fruition. What then? And the answer is, I have a few other loose ideas, but I'm hoping that this won't be the case.
Well, if this doesn't work out, we have we need to look for some place to get antimatter or something equivalent relatively quickly, or we are stranded out here. I think is the point.
And I've already delivered a report to Commander Shira about the status of our supplies. It's not pretty.
I know. I have been with Fernier every step of the way.
Good.
There are a few ways you can get back. I have already planned as such. It's still going to be a bit tricky, but this crew has done a lot, and I think you can manage back. We can manage back.
So how do we approach this Guardian?
Well,
It actually does raise a good question for you, Sharp, as Marcus has used the word "we."
pauses.
I look directly at Sharp as I say that. I see you, bitch.
Mr. Horn, there's no need for that language.
Sit your ass down.
She pauses as well, and then looks at Horn with a firm look of really?
He's not budging.
She sits back down, rubs her forehead. First off, we don't want to piss this thing off. Pissing off something that can manipulate time at all is never a good idea. And even for an observer, that doesn't mean that they won't defend themselves, or perhaps their patience is not limitless.
I mean, I assume they are aware of our presence already if they are that powerful.
If anything, I was worried given the state of the timeline and everything that I have a large guess of what's happening. I am just happy that it's still here and not elsewhere.
Which brings me to a fairly prickly question. It's like he's like looking around. It's like if he's like contemplating if he should broach this at the moment, but it's like, yeah, at this point. We have at multiple points interacted with people that had a connection to temporal effects who considered your presence to be wrong. What will happen if the Guardian reacts the same way?
I'm
Should
hoping
be able
it
to
won't.
explain why to that one.
I'm hoping it won't, and if anything, someone who is an observer like this probably won't be bothered. I don't know. But this is as close of a shot I have to helping all of you.
So do we bring gifts and offerings? A heartfelt
No.
hello?
I think we should probably send a message down telling them we come in peace, and then probably transporting ourselves down. But I'm also concerned about the number of enemies, rivals, and other things that could try to interfere. So we need to plan ahead for this ship, for protection of this ship, of this crew, and that Guardian.
As you say this,
The,
go ahead, Shira.
other than Kazinti, who's likely to interfere?
As you say this, the door opens and in steps Lieutenant Mjolnir.
Oh, you're gonna love today, Lieutenant.
Oh, you are too. She kind of eyes sharp for a moment. I have to say that I'm quite impressed as I've figured out a little bit more with this, and well, I've kind of turned it to our advantage, though I am bearing bad news. Would you? Well, let's see. Sequentially, I should tell you the good news first.
Probably a good idea. He takes out a cigar and just starts smoking it. Already starting to get a little stressed.
Well, I managed to work out with the sciences department running through what we were picking up on sensors after the captain programmed that in, and I found out why there's a differential in light transmission. Without, anything else in the interstellar medium, generally light should travel at a consistent speed. And it is. What's happening is that the distortion we're seeing is time itself. She starts gesticulating a little bit more wildly. We're looking at concentrated pockets of time that are off in different regards. It's just... It's as though the particles that we're dealing with have some sort of association with either slightly different phases or points in time itself. So looking through them, we could see points slightly earlier and slightly later in time. It also probably explains how the Kazinti vessel just completely lost control. They must have dropped out of warp in the middle of one, and the time differential, as their subspace field disrupted, or they pulled out of warp, the interaction must have posed extensive shearing forces on them, and sent them buffeting. undoubtedly it would have caused just massive damage sheer, and just, well, you all saw what happened out there.
Are we able to map out where these distortions are?
I've got a pretty good sense of it, and I'm doing my best to overlay that, or at the very least transfer information to navigation so that we can avoid them. We're actually relatively nestled in right now. The orbital phase that we've taken sets us just a little ways from where where most of the bubbles are drifting towards. But the emanations are... Well, bad news is that whatever power source is on the planet is emanating lots of those, is putting out incredible amounts of energy. I don't know what's down there, but if we want to investigate, we're going to have to play it very carefully. I wouldn't take a shuttle pod on a direct approach to it, or I wouldn't get any closer probably than 10, 12 kilometers in distance.
Is using the transporters a better option then?
I mean, we could try, but I don't know what that sort of interference is going to do to somebody if the data stream gets corrupted by a time differential.
How far would we need to start?
What would happen if a transporter beam would affected by time difference? Just the subject just ages or unages?
A number of things, she says.
But whatever, it sounds horrible.
A signal degradation.
It is
time.
It would be as if trying to transport through a pocket black hole. Parts of you can be transported. Parts of you can be delayed. You can age as of having progeria. You could de-age.
So shuttle is the best solution. Got it.
Or at the very least, transporting far enough away.
Yeah. There is more bad news through that, Captain. I was able to use... I started conducting scans of some of the chronoton fields, or it's something that what's-her-face has been putting forward, Ensign Stewart. Yeah, some reference to Chronos as the particle. It's a time thing. Anyway, what she has noticed here, what we worked out scanning some of the later points, or those with the fields that suggested a later point in time, suggested that this system is about to get quite a bit more active.
How soon?
Not sure about the precise dilation, but best guess right now in the lab, between 3 and 5 hours, we'll have more ships in system. I can't identify everything, and admittedly it is conjecture as well, but if we're effectively seeing through a prism a different point in the future, then time suggests that there are quite a few ships, and there is quite a few directed energy exchanges.
Weapons fire. Okay.
She looks at the team. I need a few of you with me on the ground as we navigate the defense system of the Guardian to get to him, while the rest of you need to hide this ship and hopefully delay any aggressive action against it, if it comes down to it, but mostly to preserve this ship and this crew.
I'm coming down with you.
You're gonna need me. I'm familiar
might-
with alien technology.
That
You may need a doctor.
Romanov. She just smiles. Romanov, I need you up here. You're the best engineer I have for this ship. And if there is action going on, the person who would keep it together is probably you. I know it's you.
That makes sense. I can't debate it.
Shira,
You'll need me in charge of the ship.
she nods. You've made a good captain. I think you can pull this off. If anything, you should probably get used to it by now, she says with a small shrug and a smile.
Only getting used to fighting Kazinti. You should need someone from science down there and an engineer. And if there's going to be hostile forces up here shooting, they might send people down to the surface to try and kill you anyway, so you'll need a security detail.
She nods. Melnik, do you want to be damned on the planet or damned up here? She says with a smile. It's that gallows humor sort of smile.
Those sound like terrible options, but I guess we're here for some reason, so I may as well come and join you. If we're looking at some sort of high-powered artifact. If it's anything like that, if it's anything like that one mission down to the, well, last time we saw something high-powered, we wound up in a village, run by a Tholian death cult, so I guess at least there isn't a death cult this time.
Hopefully, she says.
She grimaces.
I mean, who wants to live forever?
Presumably the Guardian.
Crichton, I need you up here to ensure that there are no transmissions from this ship or any other further nefarious purposes that has probably been lurking here this entire time.
I will.
And at the very least, warn Shira if you do run into one.
I will make sure, sir.
Xantar, I could use you on the ground, as certainly there'll be a number of medical conditions or issues that might crop up given the uncertainty here.
I will bring what I need to prepare for them.
All right, I'll grab a few Makos, and we best hurry then. Dismissed. Remora? Or she no, before that, let me rewind a little bit. She'll look over to Remora. Sorry, cheesy. She'll say,
No,
Remora,
we're done. Let's go.
yeah, do you wish to pilot the ship or come down with me?
Thankfully, we have a justice on the ship, and I'd say I'm more skilled, but he's more specialized. Plus, I've got to watch after the doctor.
Doctor just nods his head, just like, yes?
Show a smile, nod. Good. All right. You have your duties, you have your assignments. Let's get to it. And gentlemen, ladies, thank you. Yes, Doctor?
Would we have time for me to go through a decontamination shower?
Not really, Doctor.
Chasing after Bernard was quite traumatizing. Oh well, I'll just have to use some of the hand sanitizer.
So he begins immediately coating his face and hands, and like he starts pulling out the basically decon gels worth of it. He's gonna go like full ransom on Starbase 80.
Oh yeah, it feels so relieving, so smooth. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yep. That's the assignment. So we have Shiro Romanov, Crichton on the ship, and everyone else here, plus a few Makos with us onto the surface.
All right. So
I guess that includes Mora, and yeah.
Okay. Well, you have your priorities all sorted out. You have an urgent mission sharp that you hope will right the timeline, and for the rest of you, you have a little more context in what exactly has happened. There are still a great many question marks. What exactly the nature of this mission will entail, what risks you may face, whether any of you will survive to see these next few hours or beyond them. But you will all have the opportunity to learn in the coming adventure. There is, however, one person with a greater question, and that's Lieutenant Melnick, who asks, so, what did I miss the rest of the meeting?
I just go ahead.
No, you first.
I will go out. I just kind of put my arms around her shoulder and lead her out. Let me tell you.
And I think that is where we will have to leave off for today. Because I think that we've gotten done what we needed to. We have set up for the next missions, and guys, we're heading headlong into the season finale.
It's the Guardian of Forever as well. It's like, oh god.
You know, I clocked it as the Guardian Forever about 20 minutes before it was revealed that you were after a portal. It's like, So they started ticking in my head.
Yep. Well, we'll get into more of this in a moment, but until then, for those of you joining us in the archive, I hope that you are enjoying and that this turn is interesting to you. If you ever want to join us live, remember, we run these games live 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and that's 6 p.m. Greenwich Mean Time, and we will come back next weekend. So until then, see you around.